Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Unbreakable Wisdom Show. Guess what, you guys? It's snowing. Yep, it is. That's okay, though. It's going to melt. It's going to melt really fast. That's what I'm sticking with. All right, we're going to cover a bunch of stuff this morning. So grab a notebook if you want to, because you might want to jot some of this down. We'll give it a few minutes to have everyone realize that we have in fact gone live and started the show. So we're going to talk about reframing old narratives that are no longer serving you. And we're going to talk about a little bit about release, loose, let go. We're going to talk some about not dwelling on what you can't change. And not dragging the past into the present, right? Because we don't need the past here with us in the present for sure. No, thank you. All right, so I guess we'll just dig in, and then people can watch the recording if you're not catching us live. So, you know that Stevie Nicks song, Stop Dragging My Heart Around? Well, our theme for this morning is stop dragging your past around with you because it's not useful. All right? We do not want to drag the past into the future. Okay. And we're going to break down the framework of how to vet out a story or a narrative that's no longer working for you, and then how to fix that, right? How to do something about it. Let's just talk for a second about release. Release, loose, let go, and recognizing what's yours and what isn't yours. If you've ever been in an Al-Anon program or a CODA program or a 12-step program for people that live with alcoholics or who have alcoholics in their family, they'll tell you, don't do their agenda, just do your agenda, right? Which means worry about what's here, fix what's here, and don't worry about other people's agenda because it's not yours and you can't fix or save anybody. That's the news I have to report at almost 58 years old. We cannot fix or save anyone but ourselves. So start recognizing what's yours and what isn't yours. Good morning, Allie. And don't worry about what's not yours because it's not yours. It's not yours to worry about. God did not assign that to you because it isn't yours. Listen, if you're in the midst of something and it's preventing you from doing your own thing, like, you know, you're bookending your days or getting the things on your list done, and you're dealing with someone or something that is preventing you from doing that, that's what we call dysfunctionalism, right? And some of my therapist friends would call that dysregulation. It's when you are putting aside your thing to deal with someone else's thing. And that's okay if you are still able to hold on to your own thing in the middle of it. And if you are not, then that is not a great situation for you. Okay. So start to really, the world is a crazy place right now. And a lot of people are going like really into reactivity because of lots of different reasons. And so really important that you can calm your own nervous system and stay grounded and like worry about your shit. If it isn't your shit, it's not your problem. God did not assign you everyone else's problems. I don't care who you are. I'm like a person that wants to save the world, and I've had to recognize that I cannot fix and save other people, right? So we have to recognize what's ours, and then we can help people, we can give them tools, we can guide them to solutions, but it's not our job to beat them over the head and make them accept the solution. That takes too much of your time and energy, and it isn't yours to do. So I feel really compelled to underline that for you this morning. Stay in your lane and deal with your own shit and change yourself, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing because it's not your agenda to do. Okay, so my big theme for this morning is don't drag the past into the present. And I said when I first got on, you know that Stevie Nicks song, Stop Dragging My Heart Around? Well, stop dragging the past around because it's not serving you well. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down how a story gets a hold of you and sort of runs insidiously underneath everything. And we all have them. So I'm going to tell you how to investigate to find them. And then we're going to walk through kind of what to do about that. So you might want to grab a pen, but you can always watch the replay and play it for yourself again. Okay, so here's what happens. Somewhere in the past, an event or a circumstance occurred. And at that time, you made a decision and you took an action. And lots of times you took that action out of survival mode because lots of times these events or circumstances happened when we were much younger. So remember, me at 11, or you at 11, or 10, or 9, or 8, or 5, you only have a certain framework to deal with. You have a certain very limited toolbox. You only know certain things. You have certain understandings and opinions at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, even 20, whatever. So something occurs. You make a decision about that something. You draw on what you have and you handle it as best you can, or you survive it, and then you move on. We hope. However, here's what happens. In the future, an event or a circumstance occurs, and it smells like, feels like, or looks like the one that happened back there, and we immediately assign the same meaning to it, and we sort of go into this reactive mode, and we handle it the way that we handled it then. Now, what's wrong with this picture? Because now I might be 30 or 40 and I'm handling an upset that I handled in a particular way when I was 5. And at 5, I had a limited understanding and a limited toolbox. At 35, I have a much better understanding and a much bigger toolbox. Okay. This is how stories settle into your body, into your being, into the framework of your life. And this is very insidious stuff because unless you go looking for it, you usually don't see it. You usually just do the thing that you do on autopilot and you don't even recognize that it's coming from something else. Okay? That doesn't even occur for you unless you're looking for it, unless you're actively on the search for what are the old moldy stories that are still running your life. Because guess what? They're running you, man. They're running underneath everything. And that's why no matter how many affirmations you do, or no matter how much positivity you pour on your head, and no matter how much action you take, for some reason, you reach a point where you don't seem to be able to go any further. And this is because there's some rotten story that you are still telling yourself about your self-worth, about your ability to succeed, about your ability to have a relationship that works, about your ability to build a business, about your ability to have a career, about your ability to lose weight, be healthy, whatever. Pick something. Okay? So we have an event or a circumstance back here. We deal with it with the toolbox that we have when we're back there. It occurs here in our present circumstance. If we're not aware, we immediately go and we grab the way we responded to it in the past and we drag it forward and we make the same response to it here in the present time. All right? And we assign the same meaning to it. When guess what? It doesn't mean the same thing because you were 5 and now you're 35. So it doesn't even mean the same thing. But your nervous system and your brain and all of the things that, kind of auto respond, they make it mean the same thing. And when that shit goes unchecked, it starts running your life, whether you know it or not. Okay. So when we assign the same meaning as we did in the past to this here, this becomes a story. This becomes a narrative. Why? Because we keep repeating it. Because every time this happens and it looks like that, we decide that this and that are the same. And then it becomes a story because guess what? It keeps repeating. Because every time something like this shows up here, we tell the same story. And now it becomes a narrative. And guess what happens to a narrative? Guess what? Guess what? A narrative becomes the truth about you. Why? Why does it become the truth about you? Beth, you're here. Why does a narrative become the truth about you? Beth is watching. She's been my student and client for 10 years. Why does a smelly, old, yucky narrative become the truth about us? Because we keep repeating it, because we keep saying it, because we keep living it, because we keep assigning the same meaning to it. And it becomes rote, right? It becomes automatic. It becomes every time a guy shows up here that looks like that moldy old guy that we dated in high school that broke our heart, we make up the same story about him. Maybe we even marry him, right? And then maybe we have to divorce him because it's the same, right? We keep assigning the same. Why do you think like people in your life look like you attract the same sort of things, right? We attract the same sort of things because we keep living in the same story. Beth says, because what you say is reality is reality. And this is true. The narrative becomes our life. It becomes our truth because we keep repeating it. Whatever you repeating subconsciously, right, becomes your truth because you're in it, man. You're like you're in there and you're like, oh, poor me, I keep attracting these shitty suckers. Wow, I don't know why that is. That's what happens, right? Or oh, wow, my checkbook balance is always not what I want it to be. Gee, poor me. Why is that? Michelle says, Michelle's also been a client and student for probably 10 years as well. She says, because we keep rerunning the same sitcom episode in our own lives, and she's right on the money. Okay. So here's what we do. We're like, we got the books and we got the notebooks and we're studying and we're saying affirmations and we're going to classes and we're doing stuff and we're in a mastermind and all right, it's happening. Except then it doesn't. And then we don't know why. And we don't know why, like, we plateaued, right? When you're weight training or you're trying to lose weight, there's a point at which you plateau. Guess what that means? It means you have to change shit up. You have to shake it up. You have to change it up. So this is where subbing the stories comes in, right? Like we have to vet out that moldy old story, that narrative that's underneath, running underneath everything. You know, there are like currents of water under the ground, right? It's like that. It's not visible to the naked eye. It is underneath everything, and you have to go looking for it. You have to go looking for it. You have to dig a little bit to find it. So, just to recap here, something happens back here. We assign a meaning to it. We deal with it in a particular way with our limited scope for however old we are. Then things happen here in the present. They look, smell, and feel like those things or those people. We assign the same meaning to it, and we most likely deal with it in pretty much the same way because we forget that we have an extended toolbox now. We have an extended ability to handle things. We have different modalities that we can push ourselves through and into, right? So that we can navigate things and we can refresh the way that we look at things and we can reframe things because we know a lot more now than we did then. All right. So happens, we drag it here. It becomes our narrative. It becomes a story that we tell ourselves. We say things like, oh, every time that happens, it always means this. Every time I see somebody like that, it always means that. Good morning, Mary. I hope you're feeling better. Every time, 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 every time. Then what? Then we repeat and we repeat and we don't even notice, man. We don't even notice because we're like, oh yeah, we're so transformed. It's happening. And there's like moldy shit running under the covers, underneath the ground. We don't even see it. And then guess what happens? That becomes the field in which we pull from, in which we create from. So guess what happens with what we're attracting? Our current circumstances rise or fall to meet the narrative that's running underneath everything. And that's where you get tripped up. Because no matter how hard you work and no matter how much forward action you take, if you don't vet out the moldy shit, if you don't do the discovery work and the dark night of the soul work to excavate this crap, right? If you don't dig it out, no matter how much positivity and transformational work you lay on top of that, you will never get past that sort of self-imposed ceiling that you created with that story, that smelly, shitty, yucky story makes a ceiling for you, whether you see it or not. And no matter how much you do, you keep hitting your head on the ceiling. Okay? You keep hitting your head on the ceiling. You want to change the result, you got to change the narrative. And I don't mean the one that's flapping out of your trap. I don't mean that one, because that one everybody hears. So you pretty much organize that one so it sounds good, right? I'm a warrior. I know what to do and I do it. I make plenty of money. Everything's working out for me. Cool. But if the shitty story underneath is that you're a poor sucker and you're a victim and you are not worthy, it doesn't matter how many nice words you spew out of your flapper. If that's what's running underneath you, you're gonna bump. You're gonna get to a point and then you're gonna get stuck. Okay. Letty, hi. Look at that. We just have an old, not an old person. I love when people find me again after years and they say, "Oh my God, you're still here." It's like, "Yep, I'm still here. 12 years later, I'm still here." She said, after a divorce a number of years ago, your videos were so helpful, motivating, and a blessing at the time. This page used to be called The Working Single Mom. And when I got married again in 2019, I changed the name of the page. And I just skewed things a little bit more about in the topics that we talk about. So I've been around forever. It feels like forever. 12 years. Beth says, what we think about, we bring about. And she's right. And what we think about subconsciously is what we bring about. This is what I'm saying. These stories they're deeply embedded. They're running underneath everything. So what we're super conscious of and what we talk a lot about on this show is what's actively coming out of your pie hole now, right? And what you're actively thinking about now. Okay, so that's like easy because we can pinpoint that pretty quickly and then we can give you a protocol to follow to like change that. However, if we don't do that deep digging, all the results that we can produce for you are just surface level. Because always the internal conversation that's running you, the shitty, yucky narratives that live under there where nobody can see them, the ones that you don't tell to anybody, the ones that sneak on you in the middle of the night and they poke you and say, you know what? Nobody cares about your shit, man. You're not going to make it. Nobody's going to come to you. Nobody's going to want your shit. You'll never lose the weight. You'll never be happy. Why are you even trying? Your grandmother told you this. Your mother told you that. Your father said this. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stuff that creeps on you when you're down or creeps on you in the middle of the night, and it sucks. It's a sucky narrative. And guess what, you guys? It's not the truth about you. It's not. It's not the truth about you. It's whatever meaning you assign to that shitty thing that happened in the past. You assigned a meaning to that. You made it mean something. And it doesn't even mean that. That was just a meaning that you assigned to it, right? You can assign a different meaning. You can assign a different meaning to it. But you got to find it first. You got to find it. You got to look for it. You got to dig for it, okay? Mary and Beth and all the people, Michelle, the people are here that have watched me for a long time. And my husband, John, is on here too, watching the show. This is how I tell this story about the smelly, rotten thing. Because everybody can relate to this. You have a refrigerator, all right? Maybe it's a nice refrigerator. And you buy fresh food every week and you put it in the fridge, and shit keeps like spoiling and like sooner than it should. And you're like, all right, what's up? So you kind of clean and you put a box of baking soda in there with the top off, and what the hell? And then it keeps happening, and you're like, what the hell is going on, man? Why is my refrigerator like not keeping the food fresh? And you're thinking maybe it's the temperature, and you check the temperature and it's fine. And okay, guess what? Underneath the produce drawer, underneath it, so like you pull it out and you can't see it, underneath the produce drawer is this nasty, rotten orange growing green mold. And it is poisoning at a slow but steady rate everything that you put in the refrigerator. And this is your life. That rotting, smelling orange is your nasty, grungy narrative that no longer suits you. Okay? So here's what you got to do. Get on some gloves and get the bleach wipes and take every effing thing out of that fridge and pull open all the drawers and open up all the compartments and find the rotting orange in your life. Find that story. Remember the time that your father told you you would never be able to do it, or money wasn't made for women, or you were never going to succeed at this or that, or you're too fat, too thin, too pretty, too stupid, too smart, whatever. Find that story because it's there. And you made it mean something. You made it mean that you can't do it. You made it mean that you're not worthy of being prosperous. You made it mean that you're not pretty enough. You made it mean that you're not handsome enough. You made it mean that you can't make the money that you want to make. You made it mean that you'll never have the job that you want to have. You gave it a meaning, which means you can now give it another one. You can now make up a new story, and you can substitute that narrative. You can clean up what you believe about yourself so that you can attract something better. So that the story that begins to run your life underneath everything is one of beauty and worth and wealth and peace. Beth says it sucks and it takes time and emotional energy to sit and find the crappy tape that is on repeat. My ladies here that have been with me a long time studying, they've been students and clients and all the things. They're also inside my free community, so they are happy to help you work on all these things. Beth and Mary and Michelle, they have all done the work. They have dug around and found those stories and changed those narratives for themselves, as has Janet, who is not in here. She's in Hawaii today, but she also has done the work. There's about 8 of them that have been with me for a really long time. They're all inside the community, by the way, and there are new students and clients inside the community. So here's a little commercial. Visit the link right here, this link right here, or go to the link in the bio, same link. It's the bio on Instagram, it's the bio on Facebook, and it's here. Okay, go to that link. I just opened up a free class for you to take. Okay, yes, and Missy, I don't see her here this morning, but Missy, yes, absolutely. Missy is another one. I opened up a free class for you to take. I have a school on Teachable, and there are recorded courses there, and I just opened one of them for free to help you kind of change your emotional set point. So if you go to the link, you'll be able to take the free course. I want to help you guys. I don't want to see you stuck in this shitty stuff. So, come into the free community. It doesn't cost you anything. And we're in there every day. There's a handful of us. There's about 78 people in there so far. We've been at it for a couple of, probably 3 or 4 months now. We've had it, maybe 6 months. And we're happy to have you in there, and you can get support for vetting out these cruddy, yucky stories. Anastasia says, what is she saying? We can give the old story the boot. Exactly. Beth says it's worth it to do the work. And Anastasia says the work that she does uncovers this stuff, and it's hard to see on your own. Anastasia does great work. She's also in the community. There are some people that are practitioners of this type of thing, and they will help you do some of this dark night of the soul excavating if you are unable to do it on your own. Anastasia's way nicer than me. So I will just kick your butt. Anastasia will hold your hand and move you through things with much more grace. I just stick a dynamite up your ass and light it. That's my way of working. I'm very compassionate and empathetic, but I also don't want to see you stay stuck, right? You can change this narrative. You can find it and you can change it. Okay. So if you want to do this work for yourself, I recommend that you start just like grab a journal, and you can even just ask. I like to say, sit in the question. Beth says some. Mary and Beth have been with me a long time. Like I said, they know that I take the stick of dynamite, shove it up their ass, and light the thing. And they want that. Some people need a more gentle approach to finding the yuck. And so people like Anastasia, Heather Carroll, Anastasia, Kylie Caldwell, all friends of mine, all inside the community, by the way, do that kind of work. Kinder, gentler. Ali Call does, she helps women find their, to be sovereign in themselves and show up in powerful ways. So she does this work in a different way. There are just so many people in the community, you guys. There's so many people in my school community that could help you with whatever the hell you might need help with, honest to God. And it's free to come in there and hang out with us. This stuff is running you. These old stories are there, and they're running your life. And I want to, at least, if you take only one thing from the show this morning, I want you to recognize that they are there and that it's your job to find them. Because until you find them and flip the script on them and change them, they will continue to create a ceiling for you, and you won't be able to go above that ceiling until you dig out the old yuck, bleach it down, hose it down, transform it, give it the boot, change it up, flip the script. Until you do that, this stuff will keep limiting you, and it will look like you're stuck and you don't know why, and no matter how much blah, blah, blah I do, I can't seem to get past this. Okay. That's how we know that there's some self limiting belief, which is attached to a story, which is attached to a narrative, and somewhere, somehow, it's running your life. It's running your life. You want to dig that stuff out because you want to be able to transform your past in the present. And you have the opportunity to do that. You have the opportunity to reframe the past in the present. You have the opportunity right here, right now, to assign a different meaning to whatever the hell happened back there. You can assign a different meaning to it, and you can begin to craft a new narrative for yourself. However, we first have to know what the old narrative is, right? We have to understand what the stuck narrative is that's on repeat. It's like a script and it kind of runs underneath everything all the time, right? My husband's in the chat here singing my praises. We don't live any different here, by the way. Like, we're always looking at, how we can be better. And I very much lead by example. So I live my life the way that I teach. I'm always looking for, what's limiting me and how to break through it and how to be better. It's one of the reasons that my teaching is so authentic. So Mary says, when you start moving the story is when you start feeling and seeing things differently and your life starts changing and has a new meaning. Mary, as I said, some of these people have been with me a long time. And so they're in the comments here. If you're watching the replay, go read the comments, because some of these ladies have done the work and they are telling you how to get yourself there and how to help yourself. And again, if this is work that you want to do, get into the free school community. Visit the link at the bottom of this right here, right there, or the link in the Facebook bio or the Instagram bio of my pages. The link is there. Just click join the free school community and it will take you right over there, and it's free. And we'd love to have you in there. We'll support you through this kind of stuff, So that's it. I really, really, really want to give you this assignment if you choose to accept it. Like I always say, Missy loves that. She's not here this morning, but she'll probably watch the replay. Start asking yourself, what are those narratives that are running you? What is the story running underneath, right? And Beth is saying we're still doing the work. It's not something we're ever going to be done with. And it's true. We are always going to be looking to see what's limiting us and seeing how we can break through it. The good news is you can find a group of like-minded people to help you. And two, it gets easier. The more that you work it, the easier it is to find those stories and switch them up. The more you do transformational personal development work, the easier it becomes to do it. And it is a lifetime work, right? It is a lifetime work. Priscilla is saying sitting in your comfort zone is keeping you stuck, and fear is also adding to this. I know I'm running over time, you guys. Absolutely. Let me just address that quickly. Usually, fear is very much attached to that narrative that you're running underneath everything. It very much has a basis in fear. Okay? So Priscilla is absolutely 1,000% right. Fear attaches itself to those old stories and it keeps you stuck because it keeps you afraid. Okay? Fear is thinking thoughts that scare you. Don't stop doing that. Okay. So Andrea Fulgrim is another person that's been around for a long time. She says, thank you very much. It's changed my life. Another lesson to work on. And Mary says, when you're doing the work, you can see it in a very different way every day. You have a different perspective every day. And Liz Fenley, who's been around for a long time, says, thank you. Okay, you guys, I'm going to let you go. We have to go over to my stepdad's and help out. Find those stories. dig around for those narratives. They are there. Come into the free community and talk to us if you need help. We can help you. But let's get them. Let's find them. Spring is coming on, I think, March 21st or 22nd, Easter, like resurrection, renewal. So let's make it real, right? Let's give you a clean slate. Let's do it. Let's find the stories and flip the script, change the narrative. All right, you guys have a great weekend. See you next week.